Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Stand the Gap podcast in partnership with the Mississippi Conservative Coalition. We are joining up to form a program called Stand the Gap off the Conservative Coalition, which is going to be the Youth Conservative Coalition. And basically, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the 18 to 40-year-olds in the entire state of Mississippi. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over some things tonight, we're going to talk about a little bit about the organization and what we're going to be doing over the next couple weeks, months, and over the next year. Just a little bit overall of what we're about and who we are, what we stand for, and what we're going to be doing, like I said. So overall, right, Stand the Gap, like I said, in partnership with Mississippi Conservative Coalition, we're going to be doing podcasts. So this is one, we did a pilot episode, and we're going to be available on all platforms. We're going to be doing interviews. We're going to put out news. We're going to be sharing some personal experiences from those people, for myself as well. Faith topics, and this stuff is meant to inspire, guys. It's meant to inspire and encourage, and yes, we will be talking politics. We will be talking religion. We'll be doing some speaking events. We did a memorial last night for Charlie Kirk in the city of Raymond down at their town square at the courthouse. And then we also have some youth events. We're working with some churches. Obviously, we're working with Kiwanis. It's a youth organization, some Rotary groups as well. And our social media presence along with that stuff will be on all platforms. So we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, X, Facebook, YouTube. Like I said, the podcast is on Podbean as well, Spotify, Apple Music. We're going to be everywhere that the good Lord will let us be. We're going to be doing some community summits from our sponsors and our founding members, as we're going to call it. So we're going to get these people involved to talk about the mission, and then also plug their businesses and their networks in with us. So we have those resources available for our audience, right? We're going to be visiting schools. We are going to be connecting with existing youth groups. Some of them are already at colleges, campuses. Turning Point has done a great job all over the state of Mississippi. They're obviously a national group. We're going to be focusing on engaging young conservatives on a grassroots level in the state of Mississippi. Like I said, through classes, summits, mentorship programs, all the things. Like I said, the speaking events, educational resources. We're going to plug them to nonprofits and charities, things that are aligned with conservative principles that the conservative youth and conservatives in general should be worried about, things that we should be involved with, right? So all of that's going to come down to really about 5 things that we're going to be doing. The media content, social media, podcast, that's where everybody's looking for stuff. We want to be a reliable source for our young people. We're going to be feeding off of some of the already existing news sources that we have. We'll mention some of those. They do great work. We respect them. We appreciate their journalism and all the work that we're doing. Y'all, we just want to be that voice to put it out there and talk about it. And if you want to come and talk back, hey, we can do that too. We're going to be out in the community. We're going to be doing stuff to engage people. And this is a call to action, right? It's a call to action across the board. Along with those speaking events, the Conservative Coalition is doing a lot of great work, as they have been for over a decade now, connecting conservatives across the state. And now we're just going to be really focusing on that youth arm and really adding fuel to the fire of what's going on, right? So our network community events, these are going to be with business owners. These are going to be with church pastors. These are going to be with people of influence. These are going to be with local elected officials. These are going to be with Joe down the road, right? Because we all have a story and we all have a way of helping each other, because this is going to be a grassroots thing, right? Like I said, we're looking to inspire, educate, and empower, especially focusing on our youth, because let's face it, that's the next generation, right? Um, if we're not connecting and strengthening these local ties right now, it's going to be an issue later on, especially statewide. And we have some elections coming up. We'll talk about that later. So we want to make sure that our conservative, youth and the party in general, the Republican Party in general. But y'all, I say that, but I'll also back up for just a second. What we're doing is, and we'll talk about this a little bit more as we get into it, because we're going to talk about just why and some of the things that have been going on. This is faith based. I will say that. But we're going to talk church and state. We're going to talk politics. We're going to talk religion. We're not going to skirt that line. I'm not running for office. I am not doing anything of the sort other than tired of being quiet. And time to use the tools that God has given me, and he's given all of us, and that's the point of this, is to help us connect the dots. We all feel like we're in a position right now of doing something, and we want to do something. Well, we can. We just have to come together. We have to be organized, and then whenever the time comes and we are either trying to move legislation or move candidates, conservative candidates, obviously, that's where we want to be. That's where we want to go. So, quite simply, what is Stand the Gap organization, right? So we're American nonprofit, right? Just like Turning Point USA. They were the national, much more established. We hope to recharge the movement for the younger generation as well, right? But just on a more local level. We got to build back up. Anytime I've seen, especially in campaigns or elections, get a big victory up top, y'all, that's when you really got to pay attention down low at the bottom, because that's whenever everybody's thinking, oh, we're good, our president of choice got elected, so we don't have to worry about what's going on, in our school and our local levels. Not the case at all. That's exactly when you should be worried. That's exactly when you should be paying attention, because that's when, that's when evil creeps in. Whatever form you want to call it. Sometimes it's got a D by their name. Sometimes it's got an R by their name. That doesn't really matter. And I think that's where we have to stop looking at just, this isn't about party. This is about principle. This is about politics in a way. But, if we don't understand the people and who they are and what they're doing and the life that they're living, I think that tells us a lot about who we're putting into these positions, but also about why we probably shouldn't put them in those positions. So we're not here to call people out, but we are here to hold people accountable. This is an accountability factor to me too. You guys are going to hold me accountable. This is an accountability to my family, right? This should be an accountability to you, to your family, and to our communities, to our country, right? So what's the point of Stand the Gap if Turning Point already exists? Well, quite simply, we can't wait for Turning Point to, come to Pearl High School or Brandon High School or, church down the road. Our goal is to keep the momentum going by continuing to advocate for many of the same things that Turning Point was doing. So, branding ourselves towards the younger generation, educating them on conservative ideas, values, focusing on cultural issues, Christian principles, traditional values, all the stuff, that now is the time to continue that work. Spreading the gospel, connecting the dots between it all. Stand the Gap is a vision of continuing the call to action, and continuing to work together, because together on behalf of others, we can do a lot more than by ourselves. And we have to look forward to that next generation, really, really getting up there and doing something. So we'll continue to do that and call for individuals to take responsibility. That's what Ezekiel 22 says. So what will you do? Well, we will identify, educate, train, and organize young people to promote the principles of freedom, right? Free markets, limited government. We want to recruit free market activists. We want young people to create and help innovate the grassroots messaging. And we will help by putting out resourceful information and, like I said, hosting conferences to help promote these ideas. So a lot of it's going to look the same. You're just going to see more local people. You're going to see people, faces, like, oh, that's my mayor, that's my alderman, that's my congressman. Like, I want to go to that. I want to hear what they have to say. I really like what, this guy was saying about these issues in the Bible and politics. Like, are my local officials saying this kind of stuff? Or are they the type of people that he was describing? Do we live in communities where those kind of laws affect me, or do we live in places where our schools or laws aren't quite as conservative as they should be? So we want to work more on the local level, help these kids before they go to college, right? So we're going to focus on high schools a lot. We want to help build moral compasses, right? You guys, we're not trying to be parents here, okay? But we want to continue this process through college, and then almost equally as important, I believe, help them the first few years after college. I know that was a really hard time for me, high school, college, after college. Y'all, I'll call it what it is. You feel lost. And there's a problem here. I think it's a rough time for a lot of young people. That's really when we start conforming to the world. We're not listening to our parents. We're looking at our peers. We're looking online. Social media is telling us what it should be and what it shouldn't be. And meanwhile, the world's just getting ruined because we're looking for something. Our kids are looking for something. They want an answer. And y'all, me and my wife were talking about it the other night. We give kids a lot of the time this watered down version of life and the gospel and what it's supposed to be. And we equally agreed, like, you have to tell young people what sin is, and you can't ignore those wrongdoings first before you even figure out everything else. And I appreciate the people that do this on a daily basis. Y'all, they're our pastors, our teachers, the people that are there that have signed up to do this long before I did, dedicated themselves. Thank you. You're the reason. You encourage me, and I hope you encourage others to continue. The enemy's not going to stop, so we have to continue, right? But who's going to be next? The enemy doesn't age. You ever think about that? We do. If we're not teaching our kids and our young people to be ready, just really be ready to uphold and stand true at what's coming next for them and the future. How to love each other, what made us great as a country. The rest of the stuff is it's just not going to work out, right? The jobs, the goals, the dreams, none of that worldly stuff that, I think we feed our kids sometimes and they see as like success or like being happy. Y'all, it's just not going to happen if we're not teaching our families to love Jesus first. If we're not teaching our kids, that hope is dim without God, we're not showing them how to keep that light on. We're not doing them any justice by just sugarcoating what will be, as opposed to what could be. So we've begun meeting with donors and sponsors, people that are going to help move this, right? Like, there's been so many that have come forward that are in different capacities willing to help with this, because they see it's important. They see what Charlie was doing. They saw the push and the drive and the movement that we've been seeing. So, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. Real quick, I just want to go over our mission statement. I know that may sound kind of boring. This is all online. We have our website up now. We are still a work in progress, so please bear with us. But all the social media is up. Everything's there. We'll be slowly putting content out that is relevant to what we are doing. And then as we get our speaking engagements on the calendar, we'll be putting that out too, because we want to make sure that we stay relevant, we stay consistent, and that we stay true. So, if you see something, it's not right, hey, look, you're going to catch that. Not going to be right all the time. You are more than welcome to comment, send me an email, shoot me a text, give me a call to talk about these things. Again, this is why we're doing this, because you'll be able to call people and say, Chris, well, what about this? What do you think about that? But guys, I'm not perfect. I'm not no one any special, but we all have a story, and I think whenever there's an ear, we tend to speak more, and we tend to open our perspective a little bit more when we're sharing the gospel and the stories of our struggles with each other, because we inherently want to help each other. We want to be good neighbors. It's pride and selfishness, and then just this world that overtakes us sometimes. So anyways, mission statement, right? Stand the gap. Exists to stand in the space between the foundations of our faith, the challenges of the modern world. Our mission is to bridge the gap between traditional biblical principles and today's cultural, political, and social realities. We believe that God's Word offers timeless guidance, not only for how we worship and live our personal lives, but also for how we engage with government, participate in business, raise families, and serve our communities. Plain and simply, what's in that book, that good book, y'all, it's all right there. It lays it out for us, how we're supposed to do it, right? How we're supposed to govern, how we're supposed to participate, how we're supposed to do business, how we're supposed to be in our homes and serve our communities, and all that translate outwards. It starts so close right here at home. So that's going to be part of what we do too. We'll share stories of home and things that are going on in our house and what we do and how we do, because I want you guys to know this isn't a matter of let's just talk about the good things and how things can be better or what we think can be better. It's going to be, look, today, this is what we did. This was really hard. This was really easy. This is how it went. This is how we prayed. This is what God followed through with. This is, what didn't happen. But guess what? He's still good. In everything, y'all, he is still good. So by equipping believers with knowledge of where we have come from as a nation, why our political systems function as they do, and how our values have shaped society, we provide a framework for living fully in Christ in every aspect of our lives. And now, we're really trying to create a framework, right, of how we do that daily, but also how we navigate the complexities of this modern life. So through teaching, discipleship, community action, we're going to strive to connect the dots, like I said, between faith, politics, and daily living. Plain and simple, right? Helping men, women, young and old, mainly young, lead with integrity, honor God in every sphere of their lives, and preserve the principles that have long sustained our families and our nation. Y'all just think about that. Go back, listen to it. Helping men and women lead with integrity, honor God in every sphere of their life, and preserve the principles that have long sustained our families and our nation. You'll hear this later, but the West is the best country in the world, United States, because of Christianity. So we aspire to bridge divides between generations, faith, culture, between the principles of our founding and the realities of our present, right? So that's how it should be. This was going on today. This is where we went wrong. This is how we fix it. So that families, churches, and communities are equipped to thrive in truth, guided by the life and teachings of Jesus. We aim to develop leaders who stand firm in conviction, engage with compassion, and act with courage. Ultimately, our vision is to help build a society where faith informs every decision, values are lived out in public and private life, and God's principles serve as the bridge that carries us into a stronger, more faithful, and enduring future. Like I said, our target audience is going to be the 18 to 40-year-olds. That's really where we want to focus first, because that's just the part that we're missing, right? We're going to talk about some stuff here in a minute that is going to strike home to all of us. We got a lot to talk about for this first episode, so hope you have some time to listen. We're going to cover everything from some information on Charlie Kirk, what about his mission, his life. We're going to talk about some of the things going on right now. The government shutdown, obviously the Middle East, Gaza, Israel, our ICE facilities, things going on in the country. And I think I mentioned this, the government shutdown, but also our local politics, right? We got some races coming up, some elections coming up. Races going on, elections coming up. So we're going to talk about that a little bit too. And like I said, we'll also just talk about some things in between all that reflect how it affects our life and how we should apply it to what's going on. So we're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a minute.